Hello everybody, this is Your Life My Hands, and welcome back to my kitchen. This video is going to be just slightly different than what I normally do, for a couple reasons. One, this is a voiceover. This is me cooking and, you know, doing the motions and stuff like that, and then I'm talking over it afterwards and post-editing. So this will be, of course, a startup of me doing this. I don't know if this will be more of a common thing. I do kind of like doing the live videos and stuff like that. But for certain recipes, I think that I'll have an ability to work a little bit more consistently and then talk afterwards about what I'm doing. So what am I doing? Today we're doing a really simple recipe. This is what I like to call a good base recipe. You can do a lot of things with this. This is going to be a lo mein stir fry, essentially, lo mein noodles. And it's very simple and it's really flavorful. And I'm starting it with some portobello mushrooms. You can obviously use protein of choice. You can make it vegetarian. You could do whatever you want. For this one, I'm just using portobello mushrooms and green onions. Green onions are the staple of this particular recipe. So to start with, wash off all your mushrooms. I'm a big fan of washing off mushrooms. They grow in the dirt. They live in the dirt. They're already mostly moisture. Just rinse them off. Get rid of all the dirt that could be on there. And it's just, I think it's going to make your life a little easier, and you'll have cleaner product afterwards. To start with, we're just slicing them really thinly. Nothing super fancy about it. I do like the bigger chunks of mushrooms instead of smaller pieces sometimes. All depends on what I'm cooking. But slices like this will work just fine. Uh, Usually only takes just a couple seconds to prep your mushrooms, and then we'll be moving on to the other vegetables. Um, Use whatever variety mushrooms you like. Ones that are stronger flavored, milder. These, portobellos are super mild, but I think they work really well with whatever you put on them. So we'll have this, and we will get these things moved off to the side in their own particular little bowl, which I believe I walked over there to go grab. There we are. So throw them all in the bowl, get them off the cutting board. They will be cooked and then put off to the side and reused a little bit later. So once your board is clean, and this is all me learning more video editing and how to transfer it from phones to the computer and stuff. So this will all take a little bit of time. Green onions, probably one of the best vegetables ever made, ever created. You can use them for anything from raw to cooking to stews to toppings, and they're just fantastic. For this particular one, usually you just use some of the greener parts going down into the lighter colors. The real stems of them, like the bottoms of them, are usually better for soups and stews and making stocks and broths or whatever else. With this particular cooking method, I will go a little lower than I normally would, get into some of the more rooty, oniony parts of them. So drop it on the floor like an idiot, and then go on to the next step. To start with, I would like to cook my mushrooms before adding any of the other stuff together, because the mushrooms kind of need their own space to really steam off all their moisture. So don't worry about how much oil you use. This recipe actually has a good bit of fat to it. Spread them out. And also, it's a good idea to salt them, because salt is going to draw out some of the moisture of them. Works really great if you're making mushroom ketchup too. I have a video on that. So these guys are going to cook, and for whatever length of time they need until most of their moisture has evaporated. It usually doesn't take too long, but make sure they're spread out and they can steam and everything can come off. So mostly what's in there is a little bit of oil and a little bit of the water that comes out of the mushrooms. Not too much, and that can all be trained off a little later. I believe that's what I did also. Turn off the heat, move these things over to a bowl for their own safekeeping to get them out of the way. They will be added back in a little bit later. You can also see I have some garlic down there. That'll also be added into the recipe, because why not? It tastes great. So put him back there, and now that's all ready. The heat is off, and it's going to stay off for just a little bit. I'm going to start adding some fats into this. I didn't show, but this is the remainder of my sesame oil. And sesame oil, fantastic. And I also decided to add, just for a little bit of complexity and deliciousness, some duck fat that I keep in the refrigerator. And don't be shy with the amount of fat that you use in this. Personally, it's like heavily buttered noodles. It's just fantastic if you use a good amount. That was probably too much, but whatever. It does taste great. So you throw in the onions and the garlic, and you let them just slowly simmer. And what we're going to be making here is some Chinese lo mein noodles. And they're all dried, need to be boiled like traditional noodles. Take them out just slightly before they're done. You throw your mushrooms back into your mixture before you add in the noodles. And here we are, a big old pile of lo mein noodles. Once they're, like I said, almost done, you toss them back in there, get them coated with a little bit of the oil. It's a giant blob of pasta, so it takes a little bit of moving around to get some things incorporated. And then you're going to drop in your seasoning, which I used about a little bit more than 2 tablespoons of normal soy sauce, about 2 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce, and some gochujang pepper sauce, and also just a little bit of brown sugar to cut through some of the saltiness of this. From there, try fervently to move around your giant pile of pasta. The vegetables do not want to stick to anything, which is pretty normal, and that's perfectly okay. Go ahead, give it a few attempted flips, realizing it's really heavy in one giant ball of pasta, which is amazing. Continue to mix with the spatula, and you turn off the heat, and you're pretty much good to go. Like, this thing is mostly done. Just letting those flavors kind of get to know each other. And from there, we're going to get it plated up into a bowl. Once again, attempt to kind of mix everything. Doesn't really seem to like it, but that's okay. We're just trying to get all those sauces to get to know each other and the flavors. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. You kind of have to top it with the mushrooms a little bit later, but they're in there, and they have absorbed a lot of the flavors of the soy sauces and a little bit of the sweetness too. I believe I went to go get a bowl. Seeing as I am not Italian, I don't know how to plate noodles, and ironically, these are lo mein noodles, so I don't believe you plate them like Italian noodles, but hey, give them a little spin, that's fine. Toss a couple of your mushrooms up on top, and prepare to enjoy a really it's a very simple dish, but it's really fantastic. It's so good, it's very easy to make, it's relatively inexpensive, and you get a lot of great flavors, and you can do whatever you want with this. And yeah, twirl it, because I don't have chopsticks, and quite frankly, I don't think I could even use chopsticks very effectively if I needed to. Try one of the mushrooms are really good. Like I said, they absorb some of those salty flavors, and they really act as like a nice little difference of texture when you're biting into them. And it turned out really, really good. That bowl disappeared rather quickly. And then I realized after I'd already eaten it, I'm like, hey, you didn't top it with your green onions you're supposed to. Yeah, I cooked them all. So let me make another little bowl. I don't need that much more. I am a diabetic, and a diabetic who loves carbs. So boom, you put a couple mushrooms on top, you got your sauce, and hey, the part I forgot, let's drop a few green onions on there. Maybe make it look a little bit more presentable. And toss them in there too. That will be my lunch for the next couple days while I'm at work. Let's see how this came out now. Look at that. Look at that. Noodles with actual fresh green onions. It's a very simple dish, and I like the amount of fats that are in this particular dish because it really kind of gives you that coating like on your lips as if you just ate really well done buttered noodles. And with the addition of the duck fat and the sesame oil, which has its own really unique strong flavor, and it goes really, really well with this particular dish. And this dish probably took me, if I had everything ready and I wasn't actually recording, I mean, I could have had this thing done in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you got a really tasty meal. You have some leftover chicken, you could toss that in there. Not even a problem. Like I said, whatever you get, leftovers would work really well with this, and it's relatively inexpensive. And I cleaned it up.